Now that I talked about interacting components and stakeholders in the previous segments, I'd like to revisit Network Magic and see if I can't use their current situation as a basis for providing a bit more specific awareness around the past segments. So if I think about Network Magic and the difficulty that they're having maintaining resources in the face of difficult to manage customer growth. You know, I mean, the old saying about be careful what you wish for. So the company wants to be successful, and now that it's growing rapidly, it's having difficulty trying to figure out how to manage that success so it doesn't miss opportunities. So the situation begins in support where they really have a desired level of support readiness, which is contrasted with the current existing support readiness because of the demands on the organization and the shortage of people. And because of what support is trying to accomplish, they want to figure out how to manage this difference. Now, in the diagram that's about to unfold, think of the blue lines in terms of adds or increases or changes the influenced variable in the same direction. And the red lines either subtract from, decrease, or change the influenced variable in the opposite direction. The diagram that is about to unfold is developed by asking for each element of the diagram, what does it influence and what influences it? And continuing to ask that question and thinking about what's relevant in terms of the things that are identified. So when I think about these two components, I realize that the difference between them creates a gap. And it's this gap that the support organization wants to try and figure out how to manage, because it's the resources that they need to produce or to deliver customer satisfaction. And if they don't have the appropriate level of readiness, it's actually going to be bad for support and for the business. So in response to this gap, they go ahead and they hire and train staff, which adds to the cadre of trained support staff, and that adds to the support readiness, then thus making the gap smaller. And once they do this to the extent where support readiness is equal to the desired readiness, there is no more gap, so they stop hiring people, and they have their complement of trained support staff to meet the ongoing demand. Though, so this is the responsibilities of the support organization, and they're attempting to maintain support readiness. Now, while this is ongoing because of the whole organization is growing, the other organizations within Network Magic have a current number of employees, but they have an employee requirement level that exceeds that, so they also have an employee gap. And as I said before, the other organizations have learned that if you want to hire people that know the customer, know the product, and know the organization, the best place to get them is from support. So the employee gap induces the other organizations, in conjunction with the staff of trained support staff, to raid resources, which takes resources away from support and adds them to the current complement of employees. So the other organizations satisfy their workload, but they do it at the expense of support, which means that support finding it difficult to deliver the level of support that they think is important to deliver. Now, this problem didn't just materialize out of nowhere. It is, in fact, because the users who are pleased with the product place orders, which create an increase in employees required, and it cycles through, and the current employees then go ahead and deliver product, actually creating users and continuing to evolve a level of customer utility. Now, this alone won't maintain the business going forward because it's a new product, and users are new to the product, the trained support staff delivers support to users to help them understand how to use the product, to make them satisfied with the product, though that ends up diminishing support readiness. So that the act of actually supporting the customers reduces the staff available to support more customers, and it creates this ongoing need to continue to develop and train support staff because the customer base is continuing to grow. Now, if you look at, and additionally in here is management that's responsible for support and the other organizations. If you look at this diagram for a while and ponder it, you realize that the engine for growth of this company is this convoluted figure eight, where it begins with users and orders to employees required, to a gap, to rating resources to the current employees, which creates or satisfies the order requirement, which places a demand on support readiness, increasing the support gap so they hire and train more resources so they have a staff which delivers customer satisfaction, and the satisfied users place more orders, and it cycles back and forth. And this is the engine of growth for the company. So the question then is, in terms of who should be involved in figuring out how to deal with the current situation so that the organization has the staff that it needs to meet the opportunity that's perceived to be there. And the answer is everyone that touches the interactions that are relevant, and all of them are relevant at this point. So hopefully this has given you a perspective of how you go ahead and begin with the situation at hand and unfold an understanding of the relevant relationships to give you a sense of what's involved in actually understanding the situation and who the stakeholders are, so that you can then take that understanding and begin to develop a strategy to address the situation, which we will begin to do in the next section. So hope you found this interesting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.